If you had a budget of $100,000 US in order to buy a home, what kind of home do you think you could actually get? And what kind of life do you think you could actually live if you were outside the US or some other Western country? Well, today I'm going to show you what $100,000 can get you here in Bohol and a subdivision, because guess what? We just bought a house last week. So I'm going to take you through what this house actually costs, which really came in with the current exchange rate at $108,000 US. That's putting it at an exchange rate of 60, and so the actual purchase cost after a discount for paying cash was 6%. So if you're not paying cash, you're not able to come up with $100,000, you're just going to add 6% to the price. That's going to push you closer to about 7 million pesos. Just divide that by 60, and then you have the US equivalent, which the exchange rate is at an all-time high right now. So it was a great time to buy. So it's in this subdivision here in Bohol. We're actually in Bohol, called Royal Palms Quatro. And I'm going to show you exactly what comes with the house and what doesn't come with the house. It's a little bit different than out in the West as far as how it's furnished and how it's not. So you might be a little bit more surprised of the extra work that you're going to have to do here, because it's basically completely unfurnished. Well, I'll explain in a little bit what exactly that means, and that's what this video will cover, along with just showing you the house and the neighborhood. And then we'll probably start a series of videos here, because I'm going to do the before and after as we improve this place. So we're going to start off here by showing you what it looks like today. There's a whole bunch of weeds that were in front of it, and that's now been cleared. That's been taken down, but they were literally about 3 feet high or about 1 meter high, and now they're down to the ground, and so they're gone. And we're going to do some improvements to the property and probably do this series of videos showing you, hey, these are the things we're thinking about, get some of your feedback. But I'll tell you what, by the end of this video, I'm going to break down what the real cost is to actually live here in this subdivision, so that you can decide for yourself if this is a lifestyle that possibly could make sense for you. And that's why I'll give you the exact numbers that we're going to pay. This video, like I said, will begin a series of videos as the house gets prepped for turnover, which as of right now is scheduled for April 24th, 2026. So I'm going to be showing you the before and after as the house is being put together, and some of the decisions that we make along the way. And then I'd love to have your feedback, hear your thoughts, see what you think, because there's a couple of things I want to customize. The kitchen being the primary one. I'm not happy with the way that the kitchen's set up. I'm going to change it. And it doesn't come with appliances or furniture like at all. Not a stove, nothing. So we're going to put all that together and then, make it stylish and cute. And Lynn's all excited about that because she's never done this type of thing before, and she's really excited about having her own home. It's the first home that she's had of her own, and so she's can't wait to get things started and pick out the furniture, pick out the appliances, and all those things. So it's going to be a work in process. We've got a lot of decisions to make because it's basically like an empty shell of a house. So to give you some background, this house was built 2 to 3 years ago here in the subdivision. It's never been lived in. It's just sat for the last 3 years. And it's most likely due to the previous owner who put the down payment on the property and has been making payments, probably was not able to continue for some reason. We don't know the reason. So the property has now been resold by the developer. And just as a reminder, in this 172 home complex that was built in the last 2 to 3 years, it's completely built out, but there's no other homes available. Now, when this reopened, it's kind of a weird coincidence, there was 2 properties. This model called Hermoso, which is 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, and then another Hermoso very close by. Other than that, it also reopened, so it had been sold but fell through at the same time, a little weird. And that's all that's for sale in here. There is no resale of any of these other 172 properties. So once people have bought them, they either stay with it, or a lot of them make it like an investment and turn it into an Airbnb. So there's quite a few of those. So we're going to look at this house kind of before it's all been touched up. I'm going to show you the cracks and the things that need to be cleaned and painted and all of that. and then what it'll take to make it look like a brand new house, which is what they're going to do over the next 3 weeks by repainting, repairing settling cracks, which kind of happens there because it's concrete block construction. And so you can have some settling after about a year or two. So they're going to fix all of that, refresh everything, and that will be done here probably in the next 3 weeks. At that point, once they turn over to us, I can then have a contractor come in, and I've got all kinds of ideas between the two of us, Lynn and I. We want to put a fence around the property. We want a gate so we can put in our truck and then lock it and travel. We want to maybe do a little, like a pergola kind of thing. So it'll be like a carport, and then it'll have a covered carport, and then we'll do like a break, and then a little like roof area that's going to be like an outdoor place to kind of hang out. So we've got lots of plans for this property. Can't start that part of it until we get it turned over to us technically on April 24th, 3 weeks away. But we can prepare all the rest of it. So this house is very typical for new homes here in the Philippines. It's concrete block construction. So they literally are just stacking concrete blocks on top of each other, putting rebars on it, and that makes it very secure on the outside. And it's one of the reasons why we felt comfortable basically moving forward in this direction. And one of the things is when you have concrete walls all the way around the outside, it should stand up to any typhoon, any storm, or anything else that Mother Nature might throw at it here. There are occasional earthquakes that might get a little settling cracks, but most homes are built well, kind of hang in there. It's not a big deal. So that was another reason why we decided to go this way, because there isn't a lot of typhoons that come to Bohol. It's kind of on the southern part of the Visayas in the middle, and it misses us. They tend to go to the north. So it's a good place to be. I mean, the last major typhoon was like Odette, and that was been probably at least 5 years ago. That was the last one to really do any serious damage around here. Now, to let you know just the exact numbers here, this Hermoso unit, there's several different types of models here, right? So there's a 4-bedroom called the Palacios Grande. I did a video on that. That's what we currently rent in the same complex. We've been here since December, so about 4 months. And that's why we feel comfortable, because we know the neighbors, we know the area. It's safe, it's quiet, it's secure. So this particular house, this Hermoso Model, we purchased at 6.5 million pesos. And that includes a 6% spot cash discount. So it's roughly a 7 million peso house, right? Just divide that by 60 to get the US equivalent. In our case, the 6.5 million divided by 60 comes out to US dollars just over 108,000. This was another reason why I pulled the trigger, didn't do a loan. Loan rates here are about 9% if you're lucky, and they're pretty high. So that adds a lot of interest expense to your property. If you have to do that, you have to do that, but we really didn't want to do that. And with the exchange rate at an all-time high, about 60.3, it was a great time to make a major purchase like this. So that was just another reason why we pulled the trigger, because with the exchange rate, it actually cost us quite a bit less than it would have even, say, 3 or 4 months ago. And that's just an advantage of, it being an all-time high as far as the number of pesos to the dollar. The other thing that's an expense here, and it's not a big one, but they have a homeowners association, and a friend of ours is the president, and they're kind of keeping tabs on everything. But the homeowner fee per month is only 1,200 pesos per month. Well, you divide 1,200 pesos by 60, and that's only 20 bucks US. The other thing is the property taxes here are extremely low. They're very, very affordable. In fact, we are going to pay the first 2-year property taxes as part of the close. So I asked the developer, well, how much am I going to need to pay for this particular home for the property taxes? And it's basically 10,000 pesos per year. So the exact number is 20,757 for 2 years. Again, divide that by 60, $346 US. I won't even tell you how much property taxes are in California. It's about 1% of the house value. So if you have recently purchased a home, and the average home in either Los Angeles or Orange County in California is $1 million. Nobody can afford it, so I'm not sure how this happens. but now you're paying back 1% of that in property taxes, which I think is probably $10,000 a year. Okay, but here, back in Bohol in the Philippines, all you have left to pay after you've paid your monthly 1,200 pesos HOA fee for 20 bucks is the electric, the water, and the Wi-Fi. And all of that can be done very inexpensively. It totals us right now, because we're in this complex in a 4-bedroom home, $100 US per month. So really not too expensive, not a lot of extra costs once you're here. Now, for context, this exact same house, if you were to actually buy this in Manila or Cebu City, the two biggest cities in the Philippines, it'd probably be at least double, right? Even condos in those two areas cost more than what this home costs. So just keep that in mind. It makes it much more affordable at the current prices by being here in Bohol. We're still very central in Visayas. We can get everywhere on a ferry within a few hours to Cebu City, 2 hours, to Siquijor, Dumaguete, it's only a few hours. So we're still centrally located. We have an airport, doesn't have a lot of flights. You got to pretty much fly to Manila or Davao City. You cannot fly to Cebu City, which is too bad because it's really close by. But they do have direct flights to Manila, and then you just take a flight from there. There's a few other places that you can fly to, including like Seoul, Korea, and a few other areas that are international from there. It is an international airport, and it's very close by, and you're in and out in 5 minutes. It's a tiny little airport. So it's nice to have the ferry port here too. You can kind of get to anywhere that you want to go. Well, it's kind of a nice place to be as long as you're willing to kind of go through the ferry situation. Let me get back to the house here. The house is a total of 81 square meters. And so the lot itself that it sits on is 238 square meters. So kind of give you a perspective, there's still lots of land around the house, enough to put in a carport, enough to put in, concrete patios around it, and then plant a little garden. So not a ton, but enough. And having that outdoor space when you have your own lot, it just really helps to, be able to put it to the lifestyle you want, whether you want flowers or a little garden, and kind of make it cute or whatever. So obviously our home's not going to look like this. This is the model home, right? A lot of upgrades here, especially in the ceiling and the lighting, along with the kitchen, of course, and the bathrooms. But we just want to give you a quick idea of what it looks like. Again, not a big house, nothing fancy, but it's a very practical, pragmatic floor plan, very straightforward, nothing weird about it. We're thinking about adding this kitchen island because it gives you a good landing area for the table there. Or we might do a couple of stools behind it or something like that. And then obviously the countertops and sink and everything have been upgraded. So we'll probably not match that, but do something custom on our own. Kitchens and bathrooms, of course, give you the greatest resale value. This new model, which is in the Royal Palms 5 subdivision, is exactly the same, except it's got double doors and a different outside. So the outside's more like an Italian villa on the new ones. But again, it's a 3-year wait if you get on the list right now. So here's some of the lighting upgrades they did. I mean, it's nice with the LEDs, and they kind of did some soffits up there. Those are all upgrades. It doesn't come standard with the home, so we're not going to have those things, but kind of fancy what they did there. And as you can see, they're very high ceilings. So it's probably about 1 meter above the top of the front door to the ceiling, which just makes the place seem a little bit bigger. So now we're kind of heading into the bedrooms. This is the master. It's got a little cute makeup table there, and then a built-in cabinet. Enough room for a queen-size bed or whatever, and then it has its own bathroom. Nothing fancy, but very straightforward. It's all we need. It's just the two of us. Okay, enough of the bathroom. Let's get going with the rest of the house here. Still in the bathroom. I guess we could leave it any time. Okay, here we go. So now we walk out the door, and we see the other 2 bedrooms. There's another bath right there. Here's bedroom number 1. Now, these folks on the model have done a lot of built-in, so that's all extra. But the cabinets do come with it, except for these built-in shelves right here, that would be extra. The extra bedrooms are not huge, but we just need one for my office and then one as a guest room, so we figure we can make it work. But they do have that built-in cabinet. And then we go to the next guest room, and they did a huge 2-bunk bed built-in, but that's not going to happen. We're just going to do a queen-size bed so we can have friends and family come and visit us. And then that's the built-in cabinet. That's pretty practical for your wardrobe. That's what we have today. We're actually in the Palatial Grande model in Quattro. And we've been here since December, so we've had a chance to get to know some of our neighbors in the neighborhood and the guards and all of that, and we like it here. It's safe, it's quiet. We don't have any roosters. We don't have any stray dogs, except for the occasional one that shows up by the guard gate, hangs out. So we like it here and figured, why not? It's something we can do probably in about 3 weeks. They're going to need to totally finish the painting on the inside and out and do the final prep for the turnover. And then we plan to do some upgrades to the kitchen. You know, you have to pick all the appliances, all the furniture. We don't have anything. You know, we've been renting, so all we own is suitcases and a few things, not much. No furniture, that's for sure. Anyway, that's what it looks like. Just wanted to show you guys to kind of get a feel. So we'll probably target to move in sometime in May or June, depending upon when they finish a lot of the upgrades that we want to do. So kind of sum this up a little bit, right? This is really a middle-class subdivision where we live. And that's the approach that we decided that we wanted because that's where the security was. And so we kind of went away from this idea of owning a luxury home, that we really didn't need it. I mean, it's just the two of us, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 800 square feet on a cute little lot. That kind of works, right? And so we kind of shifted because it's more about owning a home that you can afford. I'd so much rather, have one I can just pay for cash instead of having a loan that I've got to pay off, especially the high interest rates that they have here, right? And by having that home more affordable, and if you can do it, you just pay for it, it really does lower your stress level. Because you're basically able to design the life that you want on your terms. And a big part of having happiness and being content, especially in a foreign country, is if the experience is affordable. If you're stressed for money, and we have friends, several that are very stressed because of their particular work situations, and it just adds a whole level of complexity that it's hard for them to get away from. So you don't have to deal with that. You can set yourself up correctly. It just makes life a lot easier. And it really gives you the freedom to travel, or maybe for some of you, you still have a home in the West and you want a second home here. This is a great way to do that. It just kind of depends what makes sense for your situation. But if you're looking to retire or simplify your life and you're wanting to either downsize or control your costs, this is a great way to do it in a very affordable place. It's not perfect here. If it was, they'd ask you to leave. There are differences in the Philippines versus Western countries. But if you're flexible and you're patient, you're willing to, hang in there a little bit, learn the culture, learn the people, this can be a very great place to live. Well, that's going to do it for this video. But I'm going to tell you what, in the next few videos, I'll focus about this house because we've got about 3 weeks to pull together all of the shots for the before and after before they hand over the house to us. So in future videos, I'll show you a little bit more detail on the home, some of the decisions that we're making, have you folks weigh in with your thoughts, and then I'll show you, okay, this is going to be our budget. This is what we plan to spend as we get these quotes in to do the fence around the property, the carport, this, I guess it's a pergola you call it, a separate little outdoor space that we can kind of hang out, have some lights and electric, and have friends over. And I'll show you what we actually spend to finish this project, so you'll see where we end up, right? And that'll give you a really good idea what daily life looks like here once we move in, and we can show you, the final of the home. So we're really excited about this. Hope you guys enjoy kind of following this journey. And if you're thinking about living in the Philippines, or you're just kind of curious about, what's possible? I may retire in a few years, or I want more freedom. Make sure you've subscribed to this channel so that you don't miss any of these episodes coming up, because I'm going to kind of take you through step by step all of these improvements to the home so you can see what it was like before and what it is like after and what the total cost would be. And then I'll give you our monthly budget and all of that, so it's very transparent and you know exactly what life is like here. Well, thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. You guys take care.